Hi everyone, Nat Walsh back again with another card. Today we've got a little bit of we've got two cards. So we're going to use some Distress Oxide. In the first card we have Cracked Pistachio, Faded Jeans and Dusty Concord. We've got this Simon Says stamp. Simon Says stamp. It's called Excel Greetings. I had to get it. I don't often get things from America, but I really love that these were, thank yous. Sometimes I make thank you cards for the hospital for the ladies that have gone through breast cancer. I suppose some men do have it. It's not totally a total female thing, but they take the card and give it to someone that's helped them. So there was two stamp sets that I did buy. I'm going to use the other one in the next card. So we're just going to blend through our Cracked Pistachio so far. I'm not going to stress too much about the first round of colour. But what I will do is I'll go back through it twice. And that's when we're going to have it all smooth out. All nice and pretty. A Dusty Concord. This is where we start to go back through again and fix up the blending, working our way back through each of the colours. So I usually start with the lightest, going up to the darkest and then back down again, and just play around with the blend until I'm happy with it. So the first card, this one is going to be relatively simple. They're both pretty simple, but you know. This one's a little bit more. The second one, we've got Speckled Egg. Gosh, I love this colour. This colour is just awesome. We're going to do a little bit of a different thing. We're going to have the Speckled Egg on the side, but we're still going to have the card as a portrait. Work back through the Faded Jeans. And then our Chip Sapphire, and I'm just using a clean, might be tissue or a paper towel, can't remember, and just so I don't get my fingers like fingerprints in it. I don't find this as bad as normal distress inks, but because they stay wet that little bit longer, I'm shocked and forgetting splodges and smudges on my cards, so we're just going to cover myself, clean that all up, pretty much knock it flying. We're going to add some water to both cards, let it sit for a couple of seconds, 10-20 seconds, depending on what I'm doing, how distracted I get, and then wipe that off, dab that off. And even though this panel has sat for a little while I did the other one, it still picks it up just great. We've dried all that off. Just testing here, and it's got a little tiny bit, so I'll dry that off again. And this is our other panel, which was thoroughly dry. Give that a rub. I'm just sort of sorting myself out. Okay. This is where we've got our XL greetings. See what I mean? They're just great, easy, quick and simple cards. So it's nice and handy for when you're making cards for a charity or that sort of thing, or just bulk. I'm just trying to figure out which one to go here, whether the gold or the white. It would be quite pretty with the white, but it would just be quite a different look. So it's, as I was saying, it was really great to just have a heap of cards. If you've had an event and you want to make some thank you cards, this would be very simple. So I've stamped this out twice because it is a new stamp. Sorry, I'm going to stamp it out 3 times. Must have missed a little spot in the middle. I didn't want to press too hard straight away because sometimes the lines in this stamp, especially the next one, are super thin and I didn't know how these were going to, because it's the first time I've used it, so I didn't know how these were going to stamp up. So I'd rather stamp it a bit an extra times rather than end up with a great blobby bit, you know, where I've pressed too hard. I've put Versamark over around the edges just to give a little bit of interest. As I said, it's a pretty straightforward, simple little card. This is an older stamp. This is Hero Arts. It's called Denny Lion Frame. I love this stamp too. This is one that I've used multiple times. And I've used it around the wrong way because I put the stamp actually in the base of the Misty, purely because I was finding that it wouldn't really stick. Some of these stamps sometimes, like for a while there, Stampendous was similar, that it had problems. I had a terrible problem with sticking, and that's probably me. And the same thing happened with this one. So if you reverse it and put the stamp into the base of your Misty, put a little bit of removable tape and adhere that to the lid of your Misty. It works out perfectly. So there's multiple uses doing it. Multi-matte mediums with some little raindrops. These are just ones I had in my stash. I think they're from Lucy's Little Things, which is online, and I'm struggling a little bit with this. I was just struggling with it. I was probably putting a bit too much pressure on it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to trim this down. All the details are with how much I trim this down. I do trim it down to about 14.1 by 9.7 for this particular one. And we're going to put a bit of black soot just around the edges because I just wanted to add a little bit of something, a little bit extra. I thought that would bring out a bit more of the gold embossing, but still have that variations. So I'm trying to make sure I only just do the edges. We'll tidy that up, and I will give it a brush down with a clean tissue. And it's dry sort of thing. So we'll just give it a little bit of a buff to bring out the gold again. I do take a little bit more. So over on the blog, I will write down the measurements. I think I did take a little bit more off clearly, because sometimes here in Australia, our card bases are quite different. So sometimes we find that the American dies, they're wider than they are for a portrait card. They're wider than they are taller. Does that make any sense at all? This is the other, I think this was a CZ design stamp set. This one is called I can't remember, Clean Line Gratitude. This was another one that I had to get. I figured if I'm going to get some stuff from America, then I might as well get a couple of bits and pieces. And it's really lovely and fine. It does come with, both the stamp sets come with matching coordinating dies. So that's really handy. At this point in the card that I really didn't know what I was going to do. So I thought I would die cut this sentiment out, and it die cuts beautifully even on vellum. We're going to emboss this with some gold embossing powder and then die cut it out, but I don't end up using it. So we'll stamp it down a couple of times. And again, I stamped it a couple of times because it's such a fine line, which is gorgeous, but I didn't want to, because it was the first time that I had stamped it out. I didn't particularly want to press too hard. Okay, so we'll put that back in our little thing, and this is the dies. And I just use, I get them on eBay. What do I use? They're like DVD inserts. I'll have to have a look. But I think they're very similar to an Avriel storage pocket. But here in Australia, it's just easier. I don't like that. Like, I'll use it and I've put it away for something else. But we're going to get this bigger strip, and we're going to do a little bit of a banner. So we have to pull out our stamp all over again, unfortunately. I'm going to heat emboss that again with some gold. Gold is our friend. Just tap off the excess. You do have to be careful with vellum. This is a very, very thick vellum. So you do have to be very, very careful. Make sure your heat gun is good and hot, and move the heat gun around a fair bit just to keep it moving. But I wouldn't advise to do this on thinner vellum because you'll buckle it and warp it really easily. Ask me how I know. Bit of sticky tape, we're just going to put that down, make sure it stays put, and I'm going to use a bit of foam tape to raise it up. All the information, including the measurements that I do end up cutting this down to, is going to be over in the blog. So hop over there and have a look and check out all the colors, or you can just go back. I'm not too sure about my blog. All these people that have a blog, in the comment box below, just let me know. I just think that people don't look at blogs so much. I get way more hits on my videos than I do my blog. I think I even told a friend of mine that I think blog is just had its time and has moved on. So let me know how you all feel in the comment box below. We just got some of the little raindrops from Lucy's Little Things again, and we're just trying to figure out where to place them all. And that's pretty much going to be my card. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. That would be a great honor. Like this card, like this video, and hit the little bell for just to be notified for whenever I upload another video, because sometimes I can get really busy. I'm on holidays at the moment, but I have all these uploaded and ready to go, and then I don't always get time till later on to throw it over to Facebook pages and that sort of thing. So that's my cards. I hope you enjoyed. We'll use that little thanks later on. I hope you enjoyed all that and got something out of it.